Greetings, ladies and mentalgents, and welcome to this latest episode of Tales from Outer Space, where I take a space-related story from around the internet and read it out loud for your enjoyment. All the relevant links are down below. Please don't forget to do the usual YouTube gumph, because if you don't, the nanite swarms will steal your other sock. But more importantly, as always, I hope that you enjoy. I just want to give a quick thanks to the Tier 5 channel members and patrons. Bob the Dragon, Datamagnet, Sergeant Puma, Cat Crab Lobster, and Duck Machine. Thank you very much for the support. It is much appreciated. Story number 1. Dead Matter, written by Hero Cookie. When my species looked into the stars, we saw adventure, beauty, and promise of friends. During our history, we slowly walked to them, even if we didn't know it. The first wheel, the first plane, and the first spaceship were our milestones, until, finally, creating the first FTL ship of my kind. A tiny exploration vessel, made to scan a star and come back. It didn't. Only the message did, "They will come. Run, save yourselves." In response to this, we united. All industrial capacity was turned towards war and the creation of hope. A gigantic, self-sustainable generation ship. Our brightest and most pure members boarded it. No disease would cloud their voyage. The disembarking was, we can't describe it. At least 12% of us committed suicide. At the edge of the Orc cloud, they saw a fleet jump into system and attack our home. We recorded it and swore that the sacrifice they made would not be in vain. So we sailed into the stars, without course and only hope. We met many, all answered with the same war, slavery, hate. Some used us as resources, others that did things that we don't want to remember. We lost much and gained nothing. No allies, no friend, and no salvation for us. We didn't understand. How could they hate us? We haven't done anything to them. Until we contacted them, they didn't know we existed. So slowly, we lost the only thing we embarked with and began to grow cold. Until a scout reported back. "Salvation lays there. Come!" They screamed across the endless black where no living being was. And we came, curious, but expecting a dead world or a sensor glitch. What we found was astounding. Not 1 or 2, but 7 planets and moons that we could colonize. And there was a problem. The system was home to another race. We couldn't, shouldn't colonize it. We called a vote to determine whether we should stay or continue. Many chose to walk along the right path. More to settle. We watched the beings to make sure that they were of no threat to us. What we saw was a species divided and filled with hate. It was a wonder they survived to have a base on the 4th planet, but they were advanced enough to notice us eventually. So I volunteered to introduce us to them, knowing that it would mean my death. Many days later, I stood before the doors of their base on the Red Planet and waited. A package of data with their language and our journey was embedded into it, as well as our wish to live in peace. All of them, 4 in total, came out without weapons and gave me a data device. I took it and gave it to the drone, which would return with me or without. Then one stepped forward and raised its appendage. It was surprised to see such familiar gesture. I raised my hand and shook it. Then they invited me into their building. I didn't know it at the time, but as I stepped out of the airlock to talk with them, a whole species cried in union, and they greeted us as a whole, not as friends, assets, fellow wanderers, or sapient beings, but as long-lost brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, daughters and sons. We learned a lot about them, from how they can hate with the fury of 1,000 suns that they don't know, and all that they have wronged them, only to turn this into love that can soothe and heal the worst wounds that they created. How a foe can be a friend which you just haven't had time to understand yet. That all beings should be offered salvation and a haven, especially if they want to burn yours. That is why we will stand with them, and they will stand with us. You cannot divide them from us with cold logic, saying crystals have no soul, because they would build us those if we lacked it, and not with petty threats, saying they will lay under your boot if they don't hand us over, because they regard us as part of themselves. Prepare all weapons! So let me show you the love and mercy of humanity which saved us. Target that flagship! But only after they showed you the hate and fury for what you did to their sons, daughters, mothers, fathers, siblings, and cousins of the stars. Ready? Don't worry, it'll be over quickly. Only you fools could think that you can conquer a calm sea without seeing it rage. Fire! Grand Admiral Kriska of the Second before engaging in the slave empire of Guts 312 years after the annihilation of the Crystallet homeworld. End of story. Story number 2. No Word for Help. Written by Lords the Duke. Picture this. You're adrift in the middle of nowhere, with the closest orbiting body being a derelict hull from one whom you ejected, and your life pod is running out of support to keep you alive. The absence of optimism is draining opportunities faster than the dwindling battery supply is one's breathable gas mixture balances. In that moment, one determines the definition of hope, which will convey itself for the rest of your life, however long it proves to be. For me, it has been 67 cycles, and my rescue to find the word hope in such a way as to foster a newfound sense of optimism, determination, and willingness to assist others in every way that I could. It's why I joined the Corps in the Rescue and Retrieval Division, and since then, I have rescued over 3,000 individuals and groups, with a rate of life preservation in the upper 96th percentile range. Not the highest rating, though one of the most prolific, I can assure you. You must ask yourself, why would this matter, and how can I apply it to my circumstances? Allow me to clarify. It matters because life is going to change, and soon, and it'll apply when you hear my story in a little more detail. I won't be exploring my childhood. Nothing unusual to it. Crash, school, accreditation at the university of my homeworld, intergalactic expeditionary force recruitment, and then, of course, my ship blowing apart beneath me as the Zodraxian interplanetary marine cruiser used it for target practice. Yes, those former warlords, now reduced to scavenging and outright begging at every union meeting. The very same, and yes, they are sometimes a small-scale menace. Credit wherever it is due. At the time, they were a force to be reckoned with, and few could, really. Immense amount of armaments and the disposition to use it, which are often two different columns of achievement. That was their role and function, to batter, abuse, and torment all species without pairing of those two aspects, right up until they met the Terrans. That encounter, of course, is galactic history. One does not engage in a single human vessel. All actions are considered to be taken against the entirety of their species, which is why one cannot visit the Zodraxian homeworld without special anti-radiation and thermal protection, due to it being coated in 16 feet of molten glass, not due to cool until their star is the size of a trader's business card. Humans, as the Terrans are commonly known to each other, are some of the most deranged, glorious, and engaging species one is likely to meet. If they see a distress signal, they run to it, every time, even when it's so obviously a trap or an ambush. Mostly, I think, because in those early years of their space exploration, they themselves would often dehydrate, starve, freeze, burn, explode, or simply expire otherwise. Whenever they were trapped in a set of circumstances that required them to activate a distress beacon or send a signal for aid that went unanswered. To that end, they teach the classes at every major accredited university, college, and trade school about survival techniques, rescue methodology, and life-saving technologies. 3 areas that they are experts at, one and all. By the time they leave their homeworld for the greater unknown, their dullest students tend to be brighter than most of other world's finest instructors, as they were not forged on a death world. Their homeworld, Earth, is a pinnacle of a death world. Every stage of development for them, from locomotion to internal combustion engines to fusion drives, it is powered by their own dead. Not literally, mind you, though it could be construed as semi-literal. Their fallen become heroes, and those heroes become gods, and they bear names which are affixed to the hull plates of every vessel in the heavens, even unto the spirit cycle. It is not nostalgia, it is their idea of home, to live, excel, and die, and be reborn as a ship, built to travel and explore, and even make war. Which brings us to where we are, right here, right now, you and I. Your vessel took immense critical damage, and you have activated a survival pod, the only one which ejected in time. While I do recognize that your species' definition for help is absent, let me clarify. When you feel life draining from you, and you wish that something could change to better your situation, to see you survive these circumstances, you may find it in you to press yes in response to the digital query, and accept the assistance being offered to you. You took a shot at me, Zadraxian, and I'm still here, because you missed. I did not. In less than an hour, what is left of your life support will be a memory, and you will not be at all. My full retinue of automated assistance drones and onboard medical staff are awaiting the next few moments, and equally involved as I am. I ask you this with tears in my eyes. Do you understand the word hope yet? Yes or no? End of story. And that, my friends, concludes this dose of science fiction fun. I hope that you enjoyed. And if you did, please don't forget to support the author from the link down below. But if you want to support this channel, there are links as well down below for you to help with. But the easiest way would be to share this video. And if you are so inclined, subscribe as well. I will see you all in the next episode, and I hope that you all have a fantastic time until then. Cheers.